To introduce myself really quickly, my name is Wafat Manasra, and I will be the moderator for today's webinar, inshallah. With us, we have Dr. Ahmed Taha, who will be leading the webinar titled Leading Hearts and Minds the Prophetic Way. A little bit about Dr. Ahmed Taha is that he was born and raised in Cairo, and he is a father of 4 children, 2 girls and 2 boys, mashallah. He has a PhD in mechanical engineering, and he is the founder and current president of the Urbana-Champaign chapter of the Muslim American Society, and program director of the Chicago Annual Convention of Mass. He is Hafid, mashallah, and has several ijazat. I'd like to welcome Dr. Ahmed Taha, and if he has any thing he wants to say before he begins. Brother Ahmed?
Bismillah wa salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I would like to thank the Master Bia for organizing the webinars first, and second for inviting me to speak on the webinar this month. Tarbiyah itself and Master Bia has a special memories in my mind, and I have a special relationship with the Tarbiyah as I was part of the Tarbiyah department a few years ago. Whenever I was able to offer any kind of tarbiyah services, it is my pleasure. I'm giving it the priority in my time. The topic for today is the title itself is it has a special consideration in the minds of every one of us. Why? Because for many reasons. One of the reasons is the connection with Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. It is a prophetic way and trying to shed some light on part of his life sallallahu alayhi wasallam, which is a leadership part of his life, and that we can take in while pursuing the same role in our life. This is one of the reasons for the significance and the importance of this topic, relationship with Muhammad alayhi salatu. Another part actually, which is because every one of us has practices and has some level of leadership, and this is why, as you see in the second slide, that 3 points. I'd like to discuss 3 points with you before delving into the topic itself. The first point is this relevance, because some of us might say that I'm not a leader, and so is it relevant to me? Is this topic important to me? Every one of us is a leader, and I'm a leader in my house with my children and my household. I could be a leader in my professional work, and with a group, as a group leader or supervisor, or I could be a leader leading a department or leading a committee in my masjid or my in mass or my da'wah organization. The least is I am a member of friendship relationship, and I should be leading this friendship towards the goodness. So I should play some kind of leadership that I have to. So I need to be connected to this topic by a degree or another. So it touches me. It should be of importance to me, and this is the first point. The second point, which is a point I called beware of the responsibility. Yes, why? Because some of us might have the right and the reason to say that it is very tough to be a leader, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam one time refused to give a leadership to Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu arda, when Abu Dharr asked Rasulullah, "Ala tasta'miluni ya Rasulullah, don't you assign me on something?" And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Abu Dharr, "Ya Abu Dharr, إنها أمانة وأنها يوم القيامة خزي وندامة إلا من أخذها بحقها وأدى الذي عليه فيها." Yes, Abu Dharr, it is a responsibility, and it is on the day of judgment a source of regret. So And except for those who take it according to what it needs and who give the responsibility for the leadership its due rights. So many of us might be skipping the leadership positions out of the fear of this hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, it is a reality, and it is very important for every one of us whenever he's assigned for something to give it its due right. Otherwise, it will be as he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, يوم القيامة خزي وندامة, a resource of regret on the day of judgment. But my third point, be encouraged to lead. Why? Because as he sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well in the other hadith said, الدال على الخير كفاعله. Whoever led people, directed people, was a role model that people imitated him and people followed him in the goodness, he will share them in the reward. He will be given the same reward as they got. So can you imagine how many people that you led in goodness and you did your best to give the leadership its due right to the best of your ability. So mashallah, and they followed you and you were able to develop them, you were able to motivate them, you were able to direct their efforts and to lead them to serve themselves يوم القيامة by taking a leadership in the area that they will gain hasanat and thawab in it. How great your reward will be, especially if we will be in a time and the conditions that leadership, there is not that much of the leaders who are assuming the leadership, and among our ranks, it's very few people who are assuming this leadership. So it is a fard kifaya. Fard kifaya, that means some people has to step up to the responsibility, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help them give it its due rights to the best of their abilities, ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive their mistakes and to move forward. But our webinar for today is the point on your way of leadership, regardless how big is your role is, for how to be on the prophetic way with your leadership responsibility. I have to cover this topic. Actually, the original title for the webinar was "Leading the Minds and the Hearts and the Minds." Actually, while I was preparing for this topic, I was not able to cover the second part, which is the leading the minds. It's too much for one webinar to cover both leading the hearts and the minds. So I will ask the organizers for today just to excuse me, just to cover the first part, which is leading the minds. The material I prepared will be too much actually to cover the leading the minds as well. So my focus will be on leading the hearts, and I will cover just two ayahs from the Quran, which described Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, alayhi salatu wassalam, and the leadership skills of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. An ayah from Surah At-Tawbah and another ayah from Surah Al-Imran, and we will follow these two ayat and covering 10 of the leadership skills, traits, characteristics of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and we will take a lesson out of that for our leadership. The first ayah, which is the ayah of Surah At-Tawbah, and it is on the screen with you, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, towards the end of Surah At-Tawbah, exactly the ayah before last, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم صلى الله عليه وسلم. The ayah said, the translation is, there has certainly come to you a messenger from among yourselves. Grievous to him is what you suffer. He is concerned over you, and to the believers is kind and merciful. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And in this ayah, there are 4 of these traits and the characteristics of the leadership of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and I colored them actually in 4 different colors. Min anfusikum, so he is one of them. عزيز عليه ما عنتم, grievous to him is what you suffer. حريص عليكم, he is concerned over you, he is caring for you. بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم, to the believers is kind and merciful, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And we will take it step by step actually. And these four, the four characteristics that were mentioned in this ayah are tackling the point of how he, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as a leader, used to have in heart towards his people. Because actually the next ayah that will describe after that, which is the ayah of Surah Al-Imran, will be dealing with how he used to react to deal with them. But first, this first ayah of Surah At-Tawbah, and these four characteristics are describing what he used to have in heart towards them, and what we have to have in heart towards the people that we lead. The first characteristic described Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is min anfusikum, one of them. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was described as one of them, and we have to feel that we are min anfusina, one of our groups, one of the group that we lead. Very clear that we, as one of them, we should be among the average people in our feelings and in our actions, regardless, even if we will be in social status which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives, and no one chooses the social status, but the feelings that you need to have in heart, that you are one of the people that you lead, and you feel that they are part of you and you are part of them. And this is why actually when they described him sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that if you see him for the first time, you will not be able to recognize him or distinguish him from his companions around him. Why? Because he never sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to wear something special, different. He never used to seek something special. He never used to say something special. And if you read through the incident of the Hijrah of Mecca and Medina, and you will find him sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that when they approached himself and Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda approached Medina, people who did not see him before sallallahu alaihi wasallam mixed up between him and Abu Bakr, and this is why Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda, and this is why they went to the camel of Abu Bakr thinking that this is Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. But when Abu Bakr felt that people are mixing him with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu arda, dismounted his camel and went to Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to shade him sallallahu alaihi wasallam by his hand, by his with his hands radiallahu anhu arda, to tell them that this is Muhammad, this is your Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when people saw Abu Bakr doing that, they got to know that this Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What is the significance of this this incident? The significance is that Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was really in action and in feeling one of his people. And this is actually what we have to keep in mind, that while we are leading people, and we have to be in genuine to our feelings that we are one of you and we are part of you. And this is my second point in the next slide, which is, don't seek a privilege over them, but they will grant it to you, the privilege to you, but yourself you never seek, for you never ask for them to speak special to you, and to deal special to you, and to give you a prominent position, or to give you special accommodation. But for sure, if they will feel your position, they will give it to you. And this is why the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to sit where the among them, actually, when he arrives, he used to sit sallallahu alaihi wasallam where the gathering ended. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam never approached the front of the gathering, but they used to open the door for him alayhi salatu wasalam, all the way to give him a space to arrive, to reach the head of the gathering alayhi salatu wasalam, but himself never. And it was he sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to know that كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يجلس حيث ينتهي به المجلس عليه الصلاة والسلام, to sit where the gathering ends عليه الصلاة والسلام. And he صلى الله عليه وسلم, it was very known, I'm just giving you an incident, another incident, which we have to keep in mind while we are in the company of our peer, the people that we lead, that we should not be distinguished. And at one of their travels with him عليه الصلاة والسلام, everyone, we know this incident, and everyone starting taking part of the job of slaughtering a sheep and preparing it for food. And one of them said that I will slaughter it, the other one said that I will skin it, the other one he said that I will cook it, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and I will collect the firewood. And they told him sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we are too much, Ya Rasulullah. نكفيك العمل. We are enough. You don't have to do anything. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that علمت أنكم تكفونني ولكني أكره أن أتميز عليكم وإن الله سبحانه وتعالى يكره أن يرى من عبده أن يراها متميزا بين أصحابه. I know that you are enough, mashallah, and you are, and I don't have to do anything, but I dislike to be distinguished, to be special among you, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't like for any one of us to be distinguished from his people. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as well was mentioned that alayhi salatu wasalam, that he used to acknowledge the cultures and the norms and and traditions of the people that he used to live in sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so long as this culture and that tradition does not contradict with Islam. And the example, the known example for Aisha radiallahu anha, when she joined the wedding for one of the ladies of the Ansar, one of the girls of the Ansar, and when she came back to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he asked them, "Akana ma'akum lahu?" In the gathering of the ladies, did you sing? فإن الأنصار يحبون اللهو. The people of the Ansar, the people of the Medina, they love to sing during their weddings among the ladies. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to know what the people he lived with loves, what they love to do, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam will never used to acknowledge that and to understand that and to honor that whenever there is no contradiction and it does not violate with any of the rules of Islam. This is part of one of them, min anfusikum. Another point, which is a very important point that every one of us as a leader have to keep in mind: ask about the people that you lead. Ask about their circumstances, their financial situation, their family situation, their health conditions. And this is why in Mass we in our weekly halaqa, the halaqa should have 3 parts in it, as we know: التعارف والتفاهم والتكافل. Awareness, understanding, collaboration or cooperation. And it is very important in every halaqa, every week, that part of the halaqa will be for the news. Who has news, and who has something that is willing to share with us. And this is what he sallallahu alaihi wasallam did actually. And I give, and in this slide there is an example of the conversation he sallallahu alaihi wasallam had with Jabir ibn Abdullah radiallahu anhu while they were coming back from one of their travels. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam started the conversation with Jabir. أتزوجت يا جابر? Did you marry? And Jabir told him, yes, Ya Rasulullah, I married. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam started asking him about his marriage and how he and his family and even about his camel sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because this camel that Jabir used to ride was a weak camel, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked Jabir to buy this camel from him as a way of help for Jabir. So it's a social environment that we need to create with the people that we deal with, the people that we lead. By the way, if you are a committee leader or a department leader or a halaqa leader and you don't have this social environment with people, this social connection with people, this is a recipe for failure. And this is a very weak point that you need to fix, you need to work on. Even if this committee is not a tarbiyah committee, I'm just leading a youth group. I'm just leading. We have an activity in in the city, and I'm just leading this special activity as a short-term assignment. Don't lose the social commitment, because when you make a social environment, you are building the connection, you are opening the hearts, you are motivating people to give more from their time and their efforts, and you are creating a positive environment, which for sure will lead to big success. Another point which I would like to share with you, which is in the second characteristic of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the ayah which I mentioned after من أنفسكم, which is عزيز عليه ما عنتم, عزيز عليه ما عنتم, and it's grievous to him is what you suffer. The leader has to feel the suffering and the troubles of the people that he is leading, has to share them, and has to show them the sympathy for their conditions. And I give you an example that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam one time saw one of his servants who used to bring him his wudu, the water to make wudu, and he saw him a very yellowish face, and he has symptoms of sickness, and he asked him, "Abika maradun, abika waj'un? Are you sick? Do you have pain?" And he said, "Wallahi ya Rasulullah, ma bi min maradin wala waj'in. I have nothing of that. I'm not sick. I don't have pain. But whenever I thought of Yawm al-Qiyamah, and that there is a possibility, that big possibility, that I might not see you. If I'll be in the Jannah, you will be in the Firdaus, and I'll be in the lower rank. And if I will not be in the Jannah, I will not see you anymore. And now I cannot handle it for an hour without seeing you." And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave him the glad tidings, not just for him, but for everyone from the Sahaba and everyone from us. المرء مع من أحب يوم القيامة ومن يطع الله ورسوله فأولئك مع الذين أنعم الله عليهم من النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين وحسن أولئك رفيقا. The one will be resurrected with whom he used to love. The one who will be resurrected Yawm al-Qiyamah with whom he used to love. And after this ayah was revealed, this is the ayah in Surah Al-Nisa which I mentioned, whoever obeyed Allah and the Messenger will be gathered on the Day of Judgment among those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was pleased with them from the prophets and the messengers and the martyrs and the righteous, and this is the best of the company. And when they spread it, it was a very good news in the whole Medina. So the second characteristic for the leader is that show people the sympathy for what they suffer and for what they feel and for the troubles they are passing through. And this will not happen until you as a leader will spend some time to guess, to check, to ask, some efforts to look after them and to check on them and to give some time out of that. Believe me, if the leader, whether a leader, halaqah leader or committee leader, will not show the people who working with him this sympathy, they will lose the interest to continue working. And this will lead to the third point, which is harisun alaykum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam by the one who is caring for them and the one who is concerned over them, caring for them, putting all the possible efforts to help them. And subhanallah, caring for them, or harisun alaykum, should come with the actions, not just with the words. The words are very important, and I will speak about the words now and expressing your feelings, but the actions are very, very important. And believe me, people will feel your truthfulness on what you say from your actions. And I brought in front of you the ayah, which is there are two ayahs in the Quran. One of them is Surah Al-Kahf, and the other one in Surah Al-Shu'ara by the same meaning. And this one is Surah Al-Kahf. فَلَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ عَلَى آثَارِهِمْ إِن لَّمْ يُؤْمِنُوا بِهَذَا الْحَدِيثِ أَسَفًا. لعلك باخع نفسك على آثارهم ألا يكونوا مؤمنين. In the other one, in سورة الشعراء. Oh Muhammad, you would kill yourself through grief over them if they don't believe in this message out of sorrow. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him sallallahu alaihi wasallam, calm down, you don't have to do that. But out of love for him sallallahu alaihi wasallam to give the care, enough care, he exerted more efforts than what's needed from him, to the extent that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him that make it easy on yourself. You're about to kill them out of love for them and out of care for them to accept this message. And we need to keep that as leaders as well in our mind. Haris, be caring for the people and don't save any time, any efforts, but to provide them with the benefit that they deserve and that they need. Another point, which is the leader has to, all the time, his mind and his heart is working all the time for their benefit and suggestions and working and planning for them. And I mentioned here the incident of Al-Hijrah, Hijrat al-Habasha, the migration to Abyssinia, which is the one that took place in the fifth year after messengership from the Ba'tha, when it was very tight situation inside Mecca. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was thinking on and planning for how to save his people out of caring for them, how to save them the troubles. And so he told them, لو خرجتم إلى الحبشة فإن فيها ملكا لا يظلم عنده أحدا. I suggest for you, أحد, I suggest for you to go to migrate to Abyssinia. I know that there is a king over there, An-Najashi, who is a very just ruler, and no one will be dealt unjustly with him. So you as a leader, you need to keep thinking for your people and planning for their welfare and taking actions for them. Another point, which is in the same direction, that the leader has to be one step ahead of his people. As I said, plan for them and work for the benefit, and don't be at the same level with them, but you need to be one step ahead of them. They mentioned that at one time a very great and intense sound, severe sound, took place in the Medina, and people at night, and people started rushing out of their homes towards the sound, the source of the sound, and they found Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam already coming from the same direction, calming them down. لن تراعوا, لن تراعوا. Don't worry, I already take my step ahead of you as a leader. I already checked it, and he boarded the horse of Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiallahu anhu, and even he jumped on the horse without taking the saddle of the horse, and because of he's caring for people, and I should be the first to pay for them and to give for them, and there might be a danger, Ya Rasulullah. Yeah, there might be a danger, but I would love to for them to be safe, and it is part of my responsibility to calm them down and to work for their benefit and be one step ahead of the people whom you are leading. Another point, which is it's very important to keep in mind: at the time of giving, you are the first to give, and at the time of gaining, you are the last to gain. At the time of giving, you are the first to give, and at the time of getting, you should be the last to gain and to get. As Imam Ali radiallahu anhu arda, Ali was very strong, radiallahu anhu arda. He said that at the time of the war, when the war was very tough and the fight was very intense, we used to seek shelter in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So he sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to be the first and the closest to the enemy, as Ali said رضي الله عنه: فلم يكن أحد أقرب إلى العدو من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. No one was closer to the enemies than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No one was closer to give, first to give, than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And you as a leader, At the time of giving, from the time, from the efforts, from the money if you have, from the skills, you should be the first to give. And I remember a wonderful incident where to be truthful with yourself. لما تقولون ما لا تفعلون كبر مقتا عند الله أن تقولوا ما لا تفعلون. You believe, why do you say what you don't do? It's big sin, great sin, and hateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for you to say what you what you don't do. Al-Hasan al-Basri radiallahu anhu arda asked him one time to speak to them about the virtue of freeing a slave, and he hesitated for a few months before talking to them about that. And then he told them that, oh, now I can speak to you. And he gave them a wonderful speech about the benefit and the virtue for freeing a slave. And when they asked him, why did you wait for a few months after our first request? He said, I did not have the money to free a slave. So I waited till I made it. So I freed the slave. So now I can speak to you about doing that. So it's a kind of be truthful and let your actions match your words and justify for your words and work with your words. Be the first to give, be the last to gain. And really, for every one of us as a leader, in whatever capacity you are, take few steps back at the time of the gain. And because actually you are seeking the reward from Rabbil Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala. And by that you are giving examples which will not, and lessons which will never be forgotten from the people that you are leading, that, and you will find every one of them taking one step back at the time of gaining because they saw you doing that. This is a role model in action. Going a little bit of faster on this track so we can finish the rest of the presentation. The fourth point under the harisun alaykum, which is express your feelings. As a leader, actually, it's important for you to express your feelings that I do care for you, and I'm careful about you. I'm concerned about you. The actions might not be enough. At home with your children, it's not enough to especially when you discipline them. Explain to them why. When you provide to them, explain to them and speak to them on the reason why did you take this action. And this line of communication is very important between the leader and the people that he's leading. And they mentioned that there are four kinds of leaders. The first one, which is the prophetic model, one which is the one who's caring and the one who is expressing his feelings. And this is the perfect example that we have to have in heart and in mind. The second one, which is the one who's caring, but he's not expressing his feelings. And they said that this is a kind of, is like the hidden treasure. He has treasures inside, but it's hidden. And the people he's leading needs to dig into him to get the treasures from him. Why? Give them, open your heart and make the treasures you have open for them to get easily. The third one, which is a very bad one, which is the one who is hypocrite, the one who does not care about you, and he's faking it, expressing a lot, talking a lot about and how you are very important to him and how he's caring about you, but he's not delivering. He's not caring, but speaking. This is a hypocrite. And the fourth one, the one who's never does not care about you and does not express as well. This is a very oppressive leader or ruler who does not care, who does not express. And our Prophet ﷺ used to be the first kind who's caring and expressing. And so, and he ﷺ, they mentioned just to give to make it clearer, and they said that whenever they used to sit with Rasulullah ﷺ, he used to distribute his eyesight on them. So no one would say that I am the closest to him. I am he gave me special attention. He used to distribute his eyesight, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, while talking to people. He used to express the care to them and the love to all of them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The fourth point, which is in this ayah, which is the last point, and the characteristics of the leader, or how the leader, what the leader has in heart towards the people he is leading, and leading their hearts. The fourth one, which is humble and affectionate to them, which is بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. Is kind and merciful to them. Is caring to them, which is the third one, and as well he is kind and merciful. And there are 3 points under this characteristic. The first one, which is we would like to get the job done. Yes, every leader would like to get the job done, but at the same time, you should be caring as well for developing the people around you. It's not enough for the committee that you're leading that will do the activity or the project that you are entitled to do. It's important, but it's not enough. You need as well to help people to develop themselves. They say that ما كلف رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أحد قط إلا أعانه, which means when you give an assignment to the people that you lead, help them to succeed. Help them to develop their skills. Help them to do it perfectly. And it's not just you will assign it to leave it and you leave it. Assign the job and help the people with you. There was a very, very bad kind of leader who was waiting for the people who was leading to commit mistakes, so he will put them on the spot. This is not the prophetic model of leadership. The prophetic model of leadership is the one who's caring for people and wishing for them to be able to succeed, and as well wishing for them to do the job perfectly. This is one. The second one, which is while you are leading people, we need to consider as well, because you are Ra'uf Rahim, kind and merciful to them. They will commit mistakes while working. They will have shortcomings, but as a leader who is Ra'uf Rahim, kind and merciful, you need to consider their backgrounds and their circumstances and where did they come from, and I give you a few examples here, and one of them actually is 2 examples that happened to him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and this is I'm sure that if one of them happened to any one of us as a leader, well, might not tolerate it, but he, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, give us the best of the examples that I hope that we can keep our own self, our nafs on the side, follow him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. One of them, with the Bedouin, came to him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, very harshly and very unpolitely, holding him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, from his clothes and pulling him out of his clothes, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and saying, "Ya Muhammad, أعطيني من مال الله الذي عندك فإنك لا تعطيني من مال أبيك ولا من مال أمك." Give me the money. Give me from the money you have. You are not giving me from your own money or the money of your father or mother. This is the money of Allah. Okay, this is the money of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but this is not the way that you speak. But he, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, considered the background of this man, a Bedouin who grew up in a very tough and rough environment, and فنظر إليه صلى الله عليه وسلم وابتسم وأعطاه عليه الصلاة والسلام, and he smiled at him and he gave him. By the way, if you will follow this story, you will find him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, giving him the lesson after that, when he gave him the money and he spoke to him. He said that, by the way, you said what you said in front of my people, my Sahaba, my friends, and they were about to kill you, and I calmed them down. And did you feel satisfied? He said, yes, I'm satisfied now. And he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said, now you will go to them and you would say what you said, that you are satisfied. And he told Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فَجَزَاكَ اللَّهُ مِنْ أَهْلٍ وَعَشِيرَةٍ خَيْرًا. Go and tell them that, may Allah reward you. You're the best of the friends and the best of the family, as exactly like a family member. May Allah reward you. Go and tell them that. So I hope that this will fix the bad feelings they got against you. And he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, acknowledged his background and gave him an excuse, but as well fixed it and taught him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The other example, which is acknowledge the circumstances people are passing through. And this is what happened to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was passing by a graveyard and he found a lady grieving over her deceased child and weeping and crying. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam told her, Ya isburi ya amat Allah, ittaqillaha wasbiri. Be conscious to Allah and show the patience. And she told him, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, إليك عني فإنك لم تصب مصيبتي. Go, leave me alone, go away from me, and you don't have what I do have. You don't feel what I do feel. And he Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and she did not know him Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam at the time. So he Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam acknowledge the circumstances she's passing through, and he left her sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But she came after that and apologized to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam after she knew that this is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught her. After that, إنما الصبر عند الصدمة الأولى. Truly, the one who shows patience is the one who shows patience when, at the first time, he faces the troubles. And so he sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to teach people, but to acknowledge the circumstances that they are passing through. So right now we are talking about بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم, kind and merciful. The leader has to be kind and merciful, and taking into considerations the tough time, the circumstances, the people he's leading passing through. Another point which is related to that, which is a point of the being gentle while dealing with their mistakes. They already committed mistakes, and I mentioned through examples that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam was very gentle with them. The young man who came to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam asking for an excuse to commit adultery in front of everyone, and the people were about to kill him. How dare you coming asking Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to give you permission to commit adultery on public? And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them that leave him, and he spoke to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam with a very caring tone and with the heart. His heart sallallahu alaihi wasallam was, as if his feelings was clear on his face and the facial expression sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and telling him that, would you accept that your mom? He said no. Would you accept that your aunt? No. To your sister? No. And the people as well does not accept that. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam put his blessed hand on the heart of the young man and asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep his chastity. And the young man said that after what he did sallallahu alaihi wasallam, nothing was more hateful to my heart than making this mistake or thinking of this action, the adultery. So he sallallahu alaihi wasallam was very gentle to their mistakes, as well considering their circumstances. By the way, and our youth and young generation, they are passing through a lot of circumstances and different environments that you might have not passed through. We need to understand these circumstances and as well to deal with it in a gentle way. We will not tolerate the mistakes, but as well at the same time, we need to think of a better way to handle it. Can you see the second example in green? The man who urinated in the masjid, and the people saw him urinating in the masjid. They were about to kill him in the masjid. And you know, the masjid at the time, it was just mat, and underneath it just pebbles. So he will stay in the masjid. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam pointed out to them, let him to finish it. And so otherwise he will have health problems if he will cut it. And وَأَرِيقُوا عَلَيْهِ سِجِلًّا مِنْ مَاءٍ, and clean it after that. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam after that told him that this action could not be done in the masjid, and إنما جعلت المساجد للقرآن والذكر وعبادة الله. The masjid has been established for the dhikr and the Quran and to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But he dealt with the mistake of the people in a gentle way, and we need to deal with the mistakes of the people whom we lead as well in a way that will teach them, but as well will be kind enough to not to embarrass them in front of everyone. And especially actually under this point, if you can hide the mistake and not to make public of one of the people that you lead, hide it. Don't make public. Fix it between you and them. Another point which is related to Ra'uf Rahim, kind and merciful, which is all the time wish for their integrity, not faults. all the time pray for them to to succeed, not to be in fault. All the time wish for them not to be slacking behind. All the time wish for them that they will do their work perfectly without any mistakes. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had that done during the Ghazwat al-Usra, at the battle of hardship, and when he missed Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu, and Abu Dharr joined Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam after he left in Medina, and Abu Dharr had a weak camel that died on the way. So Abu Dharr took all his belongings and started walking behind Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his heart was connected to Abu Dharr. He doesn't like for Abu Dharr to lose the battle. So when they saw someone coming all the way, someone is walking, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Kun Abu Dharr." I hope that you will be Abu Dharr. I will hope that you will not miss it. I hope that the people, the committee and leading, every one of them will do his job. No one will be mistaken. No one will drop the job. I hope that no one will be in fault. And this is the emotions and the feelings that we have to keep in mind. Wish for their integrity, not their faults. These are the the last point in this characteristic, which is use praising words, acknowledging the achievements and rewarding for it. All the time, the leader more inclined towards blaming, condemning, and sometimes if there is a mistake, punishing or admonishing. But at the same time, if someone did the job perfectly, praise him, acknowledge the achievement, and the reward for it as well, because the people are motivated by the acknowledgements and the praising words. I will stop here actually, because we are done with the first ayah, which presented the 4 of the characteristics of the leader, which is talking about how he feels towards the people he is leading. If anyone has any question, anyone has an addition, you don't have to have a question, addition from your own practice as a leader. If you would like to add to that, the feelings that the leader has to have in heart towards the people he's leading, please go ahead, and we'll take just a minute or 2 minutes to entertain your inputs and your questions and your additions. And I think Sister Wafa as well is ready to help on that, if anyone has any question or addition.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, if you go ahead and raise your hand, I could click on you and unmute you so you could ask your question or make your comment. Or if you want to type it, and I could ask the question myself. As we're waiting, I do have one question a sister submitted earlier. She wants to know, sorry, I typed it, so I don't, if people could get printable materials that they could give to their nuqabat.
Printed materials about this presentation?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, inshallah, I will make. I will send you and Dr. Muhammad Khurani the presentation, the PowerPoint, and inshallah you can see the best way to distribute it.
Yeah, inshallah, we could send it to attendees after that. Okay. One more question. Sorry. Brother Faiz, I'm going to unmute you. I don't know if you want to ask something or go ahead. Walaikum assalam.
You hear me clearly?
Yes.
So one of the points I wanted to put out, I'm not sure if you mentioned, I actually heard not all of the presentation, but one of the things that I wanted to point out is that a leader is a servant to his followers. And there are many stories that I've heard along those lines where, actually one story I heard, I don't know the specifics, is that a group of travelers was going and they appointed a leader, and they said, he asked them, "Are you sure you want me to be your leader?" And they said, yes, you are the best of us, and so we are making you our leader. And when they got to the campsite, he said, you sit and I will build the fire. You sit, I will cook the food. You sit, I will set up the camp. You sit, and just constantly. And they said, yeah, Amir, you're serving us. He said, that's what a leader should be doing. I just wanted to add that if I could, inshallah.
جزاك الله خير. بارك الله فيك.
And
Merci,
then,
Sharif Ahmed.
okay, Brother Sharif Ahmed, I am going to unmute you and you can go ahead and ask your question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Jazakumullah khairan, excellent presentation. Sometimes when we have our annual elections, people vote in leaders based on their level of tarbiyah, based on their knowledge in the deen, not necessarily based on their knowledge of the position that they are assuming. So sometimes we have this issue or this challenge. Sometimes we are not very much result oriented or driven. We're more about good intentions and having, you know, the righteous religious person in the position, most righteous, most religious. And other times we're all about you know, having a person that is really, you know, a go-getter and somebody with an organizational background and so on, at the expense of, you know, some of the things that were mentioned in the presentation. Obviously it's not the easiest question to answer, but there has to be some sort of a balance. Like you mentioned, the Prophet ﷺ, you know, did not assign certain people because they lacked leadership qualities and so on. How can we drive this point across? How can we sort of bring people on the same page to live that legacy of Prophet ﷺ, striking a balance?
This balance is very important, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned at least in two positions in the Quran. The first one in Surah Yusuf, when Yusuf sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, اجعلني على خزائن الأرض إني حفيظ عليم. Okay, and upon me with the king of Egypt wanted to appoint Yusuf sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and the second part of his story, he said that appoint me on the treasures of the earth, the treasury, to be a treasurer, because what? إني حفيظ عليم. إني حفيظ, I am trustworthy. Alim is aware, which means aware. It's not only trustworthy, but as well aware of how to handle it. So the issue of the substance, the substance matter itself, and how to handle the position and how to run it, which is the knowledge of the position, is very important, in addition to the trustworthiness. And the second ayah, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Al-Qasas, in the story of Musa and Shu'aib and the two daughters of Shu'aib, يا أبت استأجره إن خير من استأجرت القوي الأمين. In the خير من استأجرت, what? Two of the characteristics that has to be in the one who is appointed to a job. The best, for sure, the model for the best of the worker. القوي الأمين. The one who is strong. Strong means قوي in knowledge, strong in knowledge, and aware of the how to run the job. And at the time he was just seeking getting them the water to water for them. So it needs the قوة, the strength of the body, but as well it needs the strength of the knowledge, the strength of the skills for how to run this job as a committee, as a chapter, as whatever the job, and as well al-amin, trustworthy. So we have to strike the balance between all of the factors that are needed for the leader to be appointed. And this is a kind of culture that we need to have inculcated in the minds of our people. In the our halaqat, we need to discuss that from the early. It's not just at the time of the season of the elections. No, it should be kind of general education and tarbiyah for us, for how, while we are developing people to be leaders as well, we need to educate them about the leadership skills. So it's a culture that we need to work on in all our ranks. But I agree with Sharif that the balance has to be done perfectly on that. Jazakallah khair. If we don't have any other questions, any more questions or comments, it doesn't have to be a question, a comment or addition, because I know that many of you more skillful and even more very good experience as mine, or more than mine as well. So we would love actually for everyone to benefit, all of us, out of that.
Yeah, I have unmuted Brother Mazen. Would you like to ask your questions, or would you like me to ask them for you?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam.
Brother Ahmed Taha, first, Jazakallah khair for this very sourceful leadership. And my question is,
I cannot hear it. It is your voice is breaking up.
Yeah. What are the
I cannot hear.
of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
I'm sorry, I cannot hear it.
Brother Mazen?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now very well?
Yes, we could hear you. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yes. What are the two main characters?
Okay, I guess once you start speaking, the mic fades out, but I'll go ahead and ask his question.
Yes.
His first question is, what are the two main characters of successful leadership?
Two main characteristics. Well, we mentioned actually 4 so far, and we have 6 to mention in the next ayah. So the presentation for today presents 10 of the characteristics of the leadership. And I have actually the third part, which will not be presented today, which is the leading the minds. It will add another 5 characteristics. So are you asking about the most important 2?
Brother Mazen, are you asking for the top 2 characteristics?
Yes. That's my question is like,
I'm sorry, we can't hear you. I apologize. If you could type your questions as well, and then I'll ask them again if you'd like that, if you prefer that. Yeah, I don't understand the mic. He does have a second question. Okay, let me. I'm sorry. 1 minute. His second question is listening more than advising a character that helps in leadership? So is listening better than advising?
The leader will not be a successful leader until and unless he will listen, and there will be a very good listener, and it's not either or, it has to be both. But actually many of the times the leaders does not give the due attention to listening to the people and the people that they are leading. Listen to them, and we'll come actually in the second part of the presentation, وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. We'll speak about the consultation, listening to them and talking to them. It's coming in the second part of the presentation, inshallah. But both of them are very important.
Inshallah. So Brother Mazen, I hope that answers your questions. I have a follow-up question from from another brother or sister. I'm sorry, I can't tell. But their question is, and I'm going to quote it all, inshallah, so it's going to be quite a little bit long, but how to motivate masjid goers to volunteer to help, and for masjid officers to take initiative and undertake basic responsibilities of running a masjid rather than have one person shoulder the whole responsibility.
Okay, and part of this answer is related as well to وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ, which means for you to liberate the energy of the people around you and to motivate them to work as masjid goers, but they are not involved in anything. Ask them to be part of the show وشاورهم في الأمر, and get them to be part of the decision making by some level that will be suitable to their experience and their knowledge, but they need to feel that we are part of the organization, and we are part of the masjid, we are part of the committee, we are part of the chapter, we are part of it. And every now and then speak to them about, give them updates, and ask them for their not just for their money all the time, but as well for their opinion. And especially if they will see that their opinions are taken into consideration and into application, you will be able to motivate them. This is one of the another one, which is the social interaction with them, and take off any barriers between you and them. And the masjid, for example, masjid goers, the masjid committee, executive or board or whatever, needs to visit people, to speak to people, and to have the social gatherings are very important on that. And it's very hurting actually for the organization to have big picnics and to have social gatherings, and the board members are not attending, and the executive committee are not attending, the members are not attending. It is just the one who is running the social committee is the one who is attending. It cannot work. People need to see the leadership attending with them, talking to them, and this will for sure will open the doors and will get them more into the vocal point of the organization. This is a quick answer on that. If we don't have any more questions, we can move forward with the second part. It's over the hour, and I still have 6 points to cover, but I have only 10 minutes to present.
Yes.
So we can finish everything by around in 15 minutes from now, something like that.
Okay, well, if anyone has any questions, you could go ahead and raise your hand or type it to me. Otherwise, Brother Ahmed, you could continue, inshallah. And if we wrap it up in 15 minutes, that will be fine. I'm afraid we'll have question and answers though, so that will extend the time. But it's up to you if you want to just end in 15 minutes without question and answer.
No, it's not an issue of time with me. I'm fine to stay, but I don't like to make it longer for people unless they would like to. There is a discussion on that. Okay, and the second part of the presentation is actually it presents 6 other leadership qualities from the another ayah, which is the ayah in Surah Al Imran, talking about him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, again. And these 6 qualities are related to the way the leader is dealing with people. The first ayah that we covered in Surah At-Tawbah presented 4 of the qualities or the characteristics for how the people feel towards his people, the leader feels towards his people. Now we're talking about the way he is dealing with his people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فبما رحمة من الله لنت لهم ولو كنت فظا غليظ القلب لانفضوا من حولك فاعف عنهم واستغفر لهم وشاورهم في الأمر فإذا عزمت فتوكل على الله إن الله يحب المتوكلين. Ayah number 159, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, so by mercy from Allah, O Muhammad, you were lenient with them, and if you had been rude in speech and harsh in heart, they would have disbanded from about you. So pardon them and ask forgiveness for them and consult with them in the matter And when you have decided, then rely upon Allah. Indeed, Allah loves those who rely upon Him. Here are the 6 qualities that we are talking about, which is the relationship of the leader with the followers. The first one, which is the kindness in dealing with them. This is the 5th. 6th, selective for his words. 7th, soft-hearted. 8th, pardoning them for their mistakes. 9th, seeking forgiveness for them. 10th, sharing them in the decision making. And I categorized actually these 6 characteristics into 2 groups. The first one, which is 3 qualities. The second one with 3 orders. According to the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala presented these 6 in the ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described 3 qualities, which is a kindness in dealing with them, selective for his words, selecting carefully his words, soft-hearted with them, having a soft heart with them. Then 3 orders, fa'fu anhum, pardoning them for their mistakes, wastaghfir lahum, seeking forgiveness for them, seek forgiveness for them, وشاورهم في الأمر, sharing them in the decision making. Let's move forward a little bit faster pace to try to cover as much as you can from that. The 5th quality, after finishing the first 4, which is kindness in dealing with them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it at the end of Surah Ash-Shu'ara when He asked Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَخْفِضْ جَنَاحَكَ لِمَنِ اتَّبَعَكَ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, and in another ayah, وَخْفِضْ جَنَاحَكَ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَقُلْ إِنِّي أَنَا الْغَفُورُ الرَّحِيمُ. And this ayah, which is presenting the lowering your wing to those who follow you of the believers, lowering your wing. Be kind in dealing with them. خفض الجناح. واخفض لهما جناح الذل من الرحمة. While talking about the parents, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described the leader, the way the leader is dealing with his followers, the same way He asked us to deal with our parents. خفض الجناح. Lower the wing to the people. Be humble to the people that you are leading. And while you are dealing with them, show humbleness to them, be kind to them. In another ayah, and in another text, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as Anas described, was very seeking the kindness, الرفق, in everything. And he said, ما كان رفق في شيء إلا زانه ولا نزع من شيء إلا شانه. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam described that we have to seek the kindness in everything, because the kindness is the adornment of everything. Whenever the kindness is attached to anything, it adorns it. So be kind and to the people that you are leading. I made a comment, which is the kindness does not contradict with the decisiveness upon fixing the mistakes. Yes, if there is a mistake from one of the people that you are leading, it doesn't mean that you will give a blink eye on the mistake he's doing. No, you need to fix the mistake. And this is what he sallallahu alaihi wasallam did with the 3 of the Sahaba, على الثلاثة الذين خلفوا, the 3 of the great Sahaba who did not join the army in غزوة العسرة, or the hardship, the battle of hardship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished them for 40 days, 40, for complete boycott. No one to speak to them, no one would deal with them, till Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave them. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, regardless, he is kind to them, but at the same time he was decisive in executing the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with punishing them. So there is no contradiction. But even when you are applying some kind of punishment, you need to show the kindness. You need to show that you are caring. For example, if you are punishing your children for something that, one of your children for something that something bad he did, show the care, that you are not taking revenge of him. No, he's my child. He's my brother that he's working with them for the da'wah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We met for the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he's not my enemy. He's committed a mistake and I'm in a position to fix it. So be decisive in fixing the mistakes, but at the same time, be kind in executing it and show them that you care for them, and this is why you are punishing in order to fix the mistakes, in order for them to carry over the responsibility in a better way. The 6th character, which is be selective, and ولو كنت فظا He never fadh, which means the one who is harsh in wording. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you were harsh in wording, talking to them, and if you were rude in talking to them and harsh in your heart, they would have left them disbanded from around you, which means you are not rude in wording, and the leader should be selective for his word. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, ليس المؤمن بالطاعان ولا اللعان ولا الفاحش ولا البذيء. The believer is never abusive, never uses the leader never uses abusive words, cursing words, or obscene words, indecent words. This is the moment, and the leader has to be more of dealing with that, because he would like to keep the heart of the people he is leading as perfect as possible. And this is why actually I made a comment, which is the abusive leader will kill the spirit of enthusiasm and innovation, and will lose the self-initiative among his team members. Be careful about the words you are saying as a leader. And if وقل لعبادي يقولوا التي هي أحسن إن الشيطان ينزغ بينهم إن الشيطان كان للإنسان عدوا مبينا. Say, tell my servant Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم to say the best, التي هي أحسن, to do the best. Why? Because the shaitan is putting the seeds of conflict ينزغ بينهم, among them, and it's more needed for the leader while dealing with his people, because the leader has to be in a high, to keep all the time the environment that he's dealing with in a very positive way. The seventh of the characteristics, which is he's not غليظ القلب. The leader has to be soft-hearted, has to have a soft heart. And the Prophet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said عن أبي هريرة المؤمن ألف مألوف ولا خير في من لا يألف ولا يؤلف. So the believer should be easy to deal with, and should be easy in dealing with people. People would love the leader to speak to him, would love to come to complain to him. If you are a leader, you have to show them you open your heart to them. By the way, it's not, you cannot fake it. The one who's people will feel if you are faking the emotions, or if you are truthful in that. If you are right, giving it the due dose, or if you are exaggerating in it. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was soft-hearted with them sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and our leaders as well has to keep that in mind while they are dealing with the people, and to know that the soft-heartedness or the hard-heartedness will be clear on your facial expressions. You cannot fake it for a long time. And this will send either a welcoming or a repelling message to the people around you. And this will lead to open doors or open the hearts or shutting down the hearts. This will lead to, and at the end, you will succeed in getting your job done, or you will fail in getting your job done, because you broke the social and an intimate relationship between you and the people around you. This was the seventh characteristic, or the third in the line of how the leader should deal with his people. Now we'll move to the last three, which are commands from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَاعْفُ عَنْهُمْ. So, pardon them. And the eighth one, which is pardoning them for their mistakes. And it's a command, which means the leader has to forgive the people who's dealing with them, who's leading them. And it's not, and the pardoning them and forgiving their mistakes does not contradict with fixing the mistakes, because I should not have in heart anything against my brother or sister who's dealing with me in the halaqah or in the committee, who made a mistake, or who had a shortcoming. I should not leave any traces of in my heart against him or her, because we met again. We met for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we hope to meet again يوم القيامة in the Jannah together as well. So keep this relationship very positive and keep it to the best of your ability, very intact. So you will keep the love, and with the mistakes, you will fix the mistakes, but the forgiveness will be everlasting and continuous trait that you have. The successful leader does not remind, this is a very important point. If your brother or sister with you as a leader committed a mistake, you should not retrieve and bring this mistake all the time. Do you remember when you did this? Do you remember when you did that mistake? He already did it. He already fixed it. Forgive it. Forget it. And forgive him for that. Erase it from keeping. I would say, yes, take a lesson out of the mistake, but you should not bring it all the time. Otherwise, you are putting him or her in a very embarrassing situation, and you will lose the clear and the clean relationship between him and you. Another point, which is this point is very important point for the leader. Stay away from any personal conflicts. Stay away from any personal conflicts with the people whom you are leading. رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما انتقم صلى الله عليه وسلم لنفسه قط إلا أن تنتهك حرمة الله فينتقم لها. Never صلى الله عليه وسلم, never did revenge for something that he himself faced as a human, but he صلى الله عليه وسلم punished or corrected the mistakes that has been or the against the limits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Was very angry whenever the limits of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are exceeded, but not his personal interest. By the way, the leader should be careful about the financial transactions between him and the people he's leading, because the financial transactions will be very good source for disagreements. Be careful. It doesn't mean that you don't have to have a financial relationship, but give it double, triple, multiple considerations in eliminating any factor related to that. Any kind of family conflicts that will, if you are a halaqa leader, you cannot actually bring a conflict between any of the members of your family with the members of the family of one of the brothers with you in the halaqa. You have to stay away from any kind of personal conflict between you and the people that you are leading. And I would like to remind you of the hadithat al-ifk and the incident of the falsehood that Aisha radiallahu anha was accused in, and I will refer you to read that in Surah An-Nur, and how that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declared the innocence of Aisha radiallahu anha ardaha from this action, and when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu ardah wanted to stop the financial support he used to give to one of the people that spread the rumor against Aisha before the innocence of Aisha was declared, Mistah ibn Abi Mistah. Abu Bakr was supporting him financially. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala declared the innocence of Aisha, everyone from the Sahaba who were spreading this rumor, they got punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Mistah ibn Abi Mistah was one of them. And so, but Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu cleared him, and after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him that وَلَا يَأْتَلِ أُولُو الْفَضْلِ مِنْكُمْ وَالسَّعَةِ أَنْ يُؤْتُوا أُولُو الْقُرْبَى وَالْمَسَاكِينَ وَالْمُهَاجِرِينَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلْيَعْفُوا وَلْيَصْفَحُوا أَلَا تُحِبُّونَ أَنْ يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Don't you love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive you? And Allah is forgiving and merciful. And Abu Bakr said that, but I love for Allah to forgive me. And so he eliminated any kind of personal problems between him and Mistah ibn Abi Mistah. Moving forward, this is the ninth one, the one before last, which is seeking forgiveness for them. And it is as a leader, actually, it's not enough for you to forgive them for any mistake, but as well to seek forgiveness for them. I give two examples. One of them from the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We know that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam Yawm al-Qiyamah will be our intercessor. I hope that. Pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for him to be our intercessor, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam will ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive his ummah. And when the ayah was revealed in Surah Wadduha, at the end of it, وَلَسَوْفَ يُعْطِيكَ رَبُّكَ فَتَرْضَى, and your Lord will give you till you will feel satisfied. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam was mentioned in the hadith that he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that, and I will never be satisfied, and one of my ummah is in the hellfire. So he will ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive and to save all of his ummah. This is seeking the forgiveness for them. And as a leader, work for your people, the people that you lead, for their benefit, and intercede for them. If you can be a positive element to bring benefit to them, lawful benefit to them, work on that. هذا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم in the other hadith إن الله يقول لك إن سنرضيك في أمتك ولا نسوءك, when he صلى الله عليه وسلم raised his hand, يا أمتي أمتي يا Allah, and he صلى الله عليه وسلم, oh my ummah, oh my ummah, Ya Allah, forgive my ummah. And he cried صلى الله عليه وسلم. Allah sent Jibreel and he asked him why Muhammad is crying, and Jibreel asked him, Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم, Allah is asking you why he's crying, and Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم explained to him that and I'm caring for my ummah, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save them from the torment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Jibreel again to Muhammad, telling him that اذهب لمحمد وقل له إن الله يقول لك إن سنرضيك في أمتك ولا نسوءك. We will make you satisfied in your ummah, and we will not let them down. We will not make you grieving over them, and so Rasulullah was the reason for the forgiveness for his ummah and seeking the help for them and support for him all the time. The last one, which is sharing them the decision making, وشاورهم في الأمر. This is another command from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to every leader, share your people in the decision making. And it was mentioned that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam many times asked for the consultation. أشيروا علي أيها الناس, and he made that before غزوة بدر. أشيروا علي, give me your opinion of people. And it was mentioned many times in the seerah and many of the reasons for the successes and the victories in the battles were because of the good advices from the consultations with, and the good advices from the Sahaba to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. An example I gave, which is during the battle, before the battle of Badr, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam took a location which is not strategic, and Al-Hubab ibn Mundhir came to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he fixed it after he knew that this is not by wahi, it's just the management issue from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He suggested another more strategic location, which was the reason for the victory during the battle of Badr. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam honored the suggestion and the consultation of Al-Hubab. Another one during Uhud as well, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Nabni laka arishan ya Rasulullah," which is by now it's a war operation control room. We'll build an operation control room where you can observe and direct the war from it, so you will not be touched by harm. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepted that from Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas during the as well in the Uhud. He accepted the suggestion and the pressure, even the pressure that the youth of the Sahaba made, going out to face and to fight the people of Mecca outside the Medina. And he sallallahu alaihi wasallam listened to them, and they went outside to fight them in Uhud, and digging the trench toward the suggestion and the consultation given to him from Salman al-Farisi radiallahu anhu warda. All of these points actually are leaving us with the sense that you need to make a real consultations. It's a request for consultation. Be real in it. Don't fake it. People will feel that if you will consult as a leader, if you consult people and you will not consider their consultations, they will feel it, the next time they will not provide you with the consultation. But it doesn't mean that every consultation you have to execute it. As a leader, you have the layaway and you have the allowance to filter the consultations, but you need to have your consulting group. And whenever, as a group, you decided on something, after the due time that's given for the consultation and the discussion, and after exhausting all the needed resources to reach the decision, execute it. فإذا عزمت فتوكل على الله وشاورهم في الأمر. So by that, actually, this is the end of the presentation, and I will stop here. And these are 6 traits that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about the leadership of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for how he was dealing with the people, with him. I'll stop here. If you have any questions, any additions, and any comments, please go ahead.
Assalamualaikum. If anyone has a question or comment they'd like to say, please raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Or you could type a question I could ask for you, inshallah. We have Sister Deborah. You are unmuted. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi. Yes, go ahead.
Yes. I just want to say Jazakallah khairan and to let you know that your subject can be applied across the board. I'm a school teacher. I teach middle grades math in the public school system here in Augusta, and it's kind of funny that you talked about this because I shared with my son and my family last night, some of my family, how I've had this conflict. You know, I'm a leader because I'm a teacher, and my students, of course, are the followers. But one of the conflicts I have is that I have a co-teacher, and we're supposed to be equal leaders in the classroom, but it hasn't been that way. I've been carrying the brunt of all the weight, and I had got very frustrated and irritated with him. I just had surgery last week, and the day after surgery, I'm on the phone, and I'm just really frustrated, medicated, and all of that. And I said something in an email, and he made it seem like I was being wishy-washy, so I had to step back. And I actually came to a conclusion last night, and you helped me with this discussion to see that I'm on the right path. In that, first of all, I wanted to consult with him to let him know that I apologize for any unintentional duress that he may have felt from me. Also, to let him know that we need to be on the same page and that if we have conflict, we need to discuss it. When it comes to my students, I'm stern, and you probably can tell by my voice, I'm very stern, but I do have a soft heart. Mashallah, I have a lot of experience raising my kids. I have grandkids now, and I take that with me. And it's very difficult with the public school system in that, you know, I don't look at my students and say, remember Allah will be proud of you. Okay, they're non-Muslims, but I still try to use my faith to guide me when I'm talking with them because they come from so many diverse backgrounds and they have so many issues. But I find myself that we have so many conflicts from day to day. The struggle is trying to do, as you suggested in the presentation, of being humble, listening, saying kind words, even uh, apologizing, and consulting. And I hope that those who are listening to me understand the reason why I want to say something is because I could tell when you're talking, the feedback that we were getting from the other listeners were dealing with Muslims to Muslims. But we as Muslims deal with non-Muslims too. And I just want to show that this particular subject, if you are true to your deen, true to Islam, you will take these same points that you brought and take them out there when we're dealing with non-Muslims and apply them the same. Because they're not Muslim doesn't mean that we lower our standards. In other words, I just want to say, Jazakallah Khan, I really appreciate it. I got a lot of benefit from the discussion.
May Allah reward you. Jazakumullah khair. First, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you the fast and the full recovery. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you the reward for what your health conditions. But let me for what you described, actually, I have two advices. The email is never a good medium for discussing hot topics.
You're right.
Don't use email, absolutely. And email will aggravate issues because actually in the email we're missing the facial expressions, we are missing the voice tones, and it's very important actually that whenever we would like to discuss something, meet in person. even the phone. The meeting in person is the best, then the phone, then the email. But I suggest for you and advise you actually to meet with your co-teacher. As you said, you will apologize to him and you will explain to him. And as well, I would advise you to see why he was not motivated. Check why he lost the motivation and he did not continue to work with you. So look behind the reason that might be related to him, and as well the reason that might be related to yourself.
Can I respond?
Yeah, right.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if I was still open. To answer the suggestion you told me about email, I agree with you 100%. I really felt what you said 100% after I felt and got the response from him. And secondly, he's not motivated because he explained to me that his background has always been social studies or some other area. He's a special education teacher, and I'm the content teacher, but he's supposed to reinforce what I'm doing with strategies and differentiation and so forth and so on. But he lacks the content knowledge. That's where our problem lies. And I want to go back, like I said, and consult with him to say, look, I look at me more as a mentor, take notes. But if you feel there's a method or a strategy that can work, let's try it. Because I want him to feel that we're together and not let his lack of content knowledge make him feel like he can't compete, quote unquote, with me in the classroom with the kids. But Jazakallah Khan, I really appreciate that input.
Sister Deborah. Brother Ahmed, we will have to wrap it up. I am going to unmute Brother Mazen Mukhtar. He's had his hand raised for a while. And anyone else who has questions, is there an email they could send their questions to, or maybe just address at a later time? Please advise. So Brother Mazen, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
I just want to thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for a beautiful webinar. And as we are restarting the webinars, to really give us a very, very strong first webinar in the new series. So Jazakallah khairan, I personally benefited a lot. I particularly appreciated that it was all rooted in the example of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the book of Allah. So Jazakallah khairan kathiran, may Allah reward you amply for this, and may the benefits spread, and may you get the reward for all the benefits come. Jazakallah khairan.
I really appreciated all the time that everyone gave in this webinar, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who listen to the word and follow the best of it. اللهم امين. اللهم نسال الله سبحانه وتعالى ان يجعلنا من الذين يستمعون القول فيتبعون احسنه. نسال الله سبحانه وتعالى ان So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who will say and to work better than what they say. And if they will work, they will do the best. Allahumma ameen. Sister Wafa, this is your call now. If you'd like